Hello there. Welcome. My name is Angie. I'm the co-founder and CEO of 8 West Clinic. Thank you for joining us today. Hi, Claire. It's nice to see so many people online. Just to let you know, we're going to get started in a couple minutes. We'll just let a few more join. As you know, we have a very interesting topic and a very special guest. We're going to be talking about dermal fillers, one of the most versatile ways to make subtle and beautiful changes to the face in the right hands for changes that nobody will notice except for you. It's a very interesting topic, and stay tuned because we're going to look at before and after photos. We're going to have a great discussion with Jen. We'll just let a few people join, and we'll see you soon. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I introduced myself already, but just quickly again, my name is Angie, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of 8 West Clinic. 8 West Clinic is located in Vancouver, BC. We've been in practice for over 10 years. We are a facial plastic surgeon-directed clinic, Dr. Thomas Bonacici. We offer the complete suite of treatments for rejuvenating your skin and your face and your body. And I'm really excited to talk about fillers because it's a fascinating topic. We could spend an entire 2-hour session on it, but we're going to get through a lot in 30 minutes. I'd like to introduce to you today Jenn Sheaves. Once I get Jen on the screen here, I'll quickly go over our agenda. Hi, Jen. Is she coming? Jen, hi. You've been popped in there. Sometimes when we're doing these restreams, when you get popped in, you're like, oh my gosh, am I in? So you're in. Hello, and you're live. How are you today, Jen?
I'm good. Thanks, Angie. I feel really flattered that I get to be here with you and that so many people have taken their time out on this day to join us. It's exciting.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I just wanted to say the same thing. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on our team, Jen. And yes, we've got lots of people that have turned up today, so I'm excited to get started. So I'm going to review the agenda. So like I said, we've got about 30 minutes, and we're going to start off by talking about the science of dermal fillers. There's many types of fillers. They're built differently. They design differently. They do different things, and Jen's going to educate us all on that. We're also going to talk about fillers in the 20th century. And as you may have seen out in the media, when you're talking to friends, there may be a bit of a stigma attached to fillers, especially if they're not done in the best way. There's also advancements in filler, which are absolutely amazing. And I have to say that I learn every day about new things that I didn't know about. We have a very specific approach to how we offer fillers in the clinic, and we're going to talk about that. Make sure you stick around because most people's favorite part is we're going to show you some amazing before and after photos. We're going to do a Q&A with the audience, and then we're going to do our giveaway. And just to quickly recap on the giveaway, everybody that attends today is receiving a $50 gift card for 8 West Clinic, and we're going to be giving away a $500 gift card. In the chat, you will see that there is a link to the page that you go to claim your gift card and apply for the prize. And thank you, Bella. Hi, Bella. Bella says that we both look gorgeous, so thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Bella.
Yes, thank you. And a few other people, Karen, Mercy, and a few others, Amber. Anyways, nice to see some faces on here. So Jen, let's just jump right in. I want to talk about our first topic, which is the science of dermal fillers. So can you just start off by telling us, like, what are they? How do they work? What are they made out of? Just give us an overview of this.
Sure, absolutely. And as you mentioned before, there are so many fillers on the market now. When we first started, there was only 1 or 2 brands that we had to choose from, but now everybody is inundated with lots of different products to choose from. But basically, HA filler is a temporary dermal filler that's made from a sugar molecule, and it's designed to draw in water into the skin. And HA is found naturally throughout the body, in the joints, in our eyes, and in our skin. And as we age and our muscles and bones and skin break down, we start to lose volume. And HA filler is designed to plump up those areas of aging and loss. And as we know, other areas that people need augmenting, like chins and lips, that are just fun to do. Most people are doing their lips more for pleasure and enjoyment now, rather than as anti-aging, as well as noses and temples and under eyes. We can really use it everywhere. But it's temporary, so there's a nice comfort in that it's not going to last forever. It's the good side, and it's also the bad side that we have to have maintenance because it's not going to last forever. And with complications, because it's temporary, we can also dissolve things that arise. That if people want to try getting their nose done before surgery, we have the opportunity to dissolve it. So if they really like it, they can go ahead with that more permanent procedure. And people who have started when they're in their 20s with their lips and have been overwhelmed and they're starting a new career and they kind of want to make their lips maybe a little bit less overwhelming, they have an opportunity to dissolve lips as well and go back to a more natural look. So it's great. It's there and people of all ages can use it, and it has become a household way to improve and make your skin more youthful.
Right, absolutely. And I think I want to say now that if there's anybody that knows fillers, it's Jen. Jen has been injecting for over 15 years, and she's also a trainer. So what that means is if you go to have fillers done at a clinic in Canada, Western Canada, there's a possibility that that person, whether they're a doctor or a nurse, has actually been trained by Jen. And Jen provides support to injectors across Western Canada. So as they progress from a junior injector to more advanced, she's there to support them. So it really is a very specialized area of medical aesthetics, and it is important to work with somebody who's got a vast amount of experience. Now, Jen, you said that you've seen things change over the past 15 years. What do you think is what are you hearing the most from people when they come in terms of what they're requesting or trends, for example?
Oh, trends. Definitely when I first started 15 years ago, cheeks were the trend. But people are getting more savvy and people are much less cheek focused and much less even lip enhancement focus. Those were the two areas 15 years ago that were very confident in filling. And people have become more sophisticated in their requests for fillers and are choosing areas based on proportion and volume loss as a sign of beauty. Less people are requesting for their lines and wrinkles to be filled and are more okay with those parts of aging and are requesting areas that will create more of an attractive rested look, like temples as they get hollow as we age, jaw lines to make them sharper so we get less of a rippling in the skin. Chins and noses have really gone off in the last couple of years with the ability to do things that only surgeons could typically do before. And Tom has basically sent me so many patients the last few years with chins not really quite fitting the way patients would want them to, and fillers seem to be a better option for most people.
Yeah, and when Jenn says Tom, she's just talking about Dr. Bonacici, and they work very closely together. And as an example, a patient may decide that surgery makes the most sense for their nose if they've got a large hump and a droopy tip. That may be something that they decide to have surgery for, but they're then coming to see Jenn to have some even better balance created in their face. And I have to say from personal experience, a little bit of filler in the chin just looks so nice, and it kind of creates that finish and balance. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a lot of people requesting chins. Okay, great. So Jenn, let's transition now into really, there's a whole world to explore here, but we're calling it fillers in the 21st century. So first of all, we might as well start with, what are some of the stigmas that people are talking about now, or that people have about fillers?
I think people really are starting to want to not change how they look. They want to keep looking like they are. People are mostly happy with how they have aged. They just want to do it more gracefully, and they don't want to be 20 again, and they don't want to dramatically change their look for the most part, unless we're talking about those specific instances where you have a hump in your nose that you want to cover and change that, or a weak chin that's receded that you want to project out. For the most part, just general anti-aging things. Most women don't want to look done. I think when you start to look done, you can almost look older than you would have had you not done anything at all. And people have to realize when you're out in public and you're looking at faces and you notice something that looks a little odd, remember that you're only noticing it because it is not quite right. And the majority of the people that are walking around who do fillers, that you're thinking, oh, wow, she's beautiful. She probably has fillers also, but we attribute things that look beautiful as natural. And so for the most part, you are seeing a wonderful world of women and men with fillers in their face. And they have gone to see injectors who've done an incredible job with them. And then there's those odd few people that are unfortunately had too much work done or are a little bit imbalanced with how they've had fillers, and it draws attention, but that's far and few between. And I just want people to know that you're only noticing it because it is not quite right, and you're appreciating all the beauty of fillers out there, and you don't even know it.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that I've always appreciated about Jenn, because Jenn does my fillers as well, is sometimes you need someone to say no to you. And I think that's, I really, really trust and rely on your expertise. And I'm sure there's times, well, I know there's times when I've said, well, look, like, can we just do a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that? And I appreciate Jenn helping to keep me natural. Having somebody to say no to you can actually be a really good thing.
I say no a lot, don't I? To lots of people.
Too much. No, you're fantastic that way. Jenn, what's changed in the ways that the actual techniques for injecting?
I think going back to what we were talking about before, I think people have become a little bit less heavy-handed in the way we use filler. I often use the analogy with my patients that if you can't build a whole house with just one tool, and I usually say you can't build a whole house with a hammer. And Same with facial rejuvenation. We can't do everything with fillers. And I think us as injectors are starting to become also more sophisticated in how we inject fillers. We have more sophisticated touch, a lighter hand. We've learned that sometimes less is more, and most of the times less is more, thankfully. And so, sorry, I've gone off the rabbit trail. Redirect me to the question you asked.
That was perfect. And you were just about to also get into the actual techniques. I mean, like cannulas, for example.
Right, absolutely. So yes, because there are many ways that we can rejuvenate the face. We're talking about fillers today, but there are lasers and there's neuromodulators like Botox and Dysport that can be used and on top of fillers. And usually we need a combination of treatments to give us the most natural look rather than just focusing on fillers, even though today this is the topic. But there are different methods of which we use filler in the face, and that's with a cannula or direct with a needle, depending on the look and the desired outcome. Cannulas have definitely become a trend. Because of their safety factor. It allows sometimes less downtime because it is easier to do fillers with cannula and prevent bruising. So people who are going to events and are hoping to escape that nasty bruise that can sometimes happen with fillers, cannulas can minimize that to some degree. It also increases the safety factor of how fillers are performed and reduce some of those uncommon side effects that can happen. And that's because cannula isn't sharp. It's a blunt tip end that goes into the skin and pushes the vessels around rather than goes through them and creates the bleeding. So it's definitely become a standard of practice in today's aesthetic injecting world to use cannulas more. But I think we, as injectors, need to be skilled in using a needle as well as a cannula, because sometimes when you go in to do a job with a cannula and you're just not getting the look that you want, you have to be comfortable to be able to use a needle to create the desired outcome.
Yeah, and that really is where the artistic side of things comes into play. In addition to being able to make decisions about what actual product to use, and I noticed, Jen, I mean, let's talk about like layering products and the different types of products that are used. I mean, they come in. Can you explain that? Some of them are thicker, thinner, stiffer. So what are we doing with layering and different product selection?
Well, first, like neuromodulators, filler can actually have an impact on how the face moves because it's creating resistance. It's staying in the skin. So we have to choose a product that's going to be appropriate for the amount of movement that's happening. And when we're addressing nasolabial folds and lips and chins, it's an area of the face that has a lot of expression, and it is called into demand for movement for most everything that we do with our face. So we have to be careful that we're choosing fillers that, one, aren't too stiff, so it's not impacting how wide our smile is reduced and lifting and the flow of the movement. It would be very distracting if someone had a very stiff filler around their mouth when they're speaking and their mouth isn't flowing. You just want to just look at their mouth and just kind of be curious about what's happening there. And we don't want to draw attention as individuals to ourselves because it'll make us even more self-conscious to the problem that we were trying to correct in the first place. So I think using something soft and that has flow and movement and it's beautiful and graceful when we move is important. And we've been given such a wide range now. Before we were given 3 types of fillers to use all over the face. Now we have things that are specific for the lips, things that are specific for the cheeks. So when we want to create a top model structured cheekbone look, these young girls who have been doing such a wonderful job with contouring their makeup for so many years and want something that's a little bit less maintenance, they'll come in for a very structured cheekbone. And we need to use a product that has that firmness to hold up like bone to create that definition in their jaw that they want, and their jawline, sorry, the cheekbone and the jawline, and their chin. And then to be able to use a softer filler on top of that to help reflect the light in a very feminine way is a really great way to layer fillers. That's just one example that we can do that with.
Yeah, well, that is fascinating. I think that I'm not sure I even understand all the differences. I'm learning from you every day, Jen. And Roxy is loving this as well. Yeah, no, she explains it so well. There's a bunch of good questions popping up, sir. I'm going to get to those when we get to the Q&A. So just hang tight, everyone. Jen, why don't we talk now about our approach to fillers in the clinic, and then we're going to go into different facial parts. And I think because of time, I think we'll probably integrate the before and after photos into, like, when we're talking about eyes, if you've got an eyes, when you can show it there. Thank you, Mitch, who's producing in the background.
Yes,
so I just want to give a quick, just a quick overview about Jen. Certainly has her own very special approach to fillers. In our clinic, fillers are used as a part of our comprehensive approach to rejuvenating or beautifying, or, you know, making small, subtle, beautiful changes to the face. Some patients have the objective of looking younger. Some patients have the objective of having more structure or balance to their face. But it really is a team approach. And so I know personally when I've come into Jen saying, Jen, I really think I need to fill my nasolabial line. And she says, Angie, I'm not sure if that's the way to go. I don't want you to make you look thick down here, but why don't we think about lifting your cheek a little bit up here? And why don't you see Suzanne, one of our laser specialists, who can help thicken up my dermis through a laser treatment, because thickening up my skin is going to help with the appearance. So it really is an integrated approach. So Jen, let's talk a little bit more about your approach for specific body parts or facial parts. Although you can put fillers in the body too, but we're talking about the face today. Let's talk about eyes, and definitely talk to us about lower eyes, because I know that's a big one.
Okay. I'll first off the picture's up for the eyes. So I'll start with the eyes, and then I'll go back to the more general question about my approach. The eyes have definitely become another one of those popular requests, and people are wanting to fill their tear troughs. And really what that means medically is the space between the medial part of the eye closest to the nose to probably just before midpoint on the eye. And it's a tear trough, and we call it that because it literally catches the tears and helps run the tear away from the face. And we need these anatomical markings. And I think, like the nasolabial fold, for instance, back in the day, and they're less popular now. People are becoming a bit more aware of why they're there, but we need these markings in our face to differentiate between the lip and the cheek, and we need a differentiation between the eye and the cheek. So to obliterate and mask all these anatomical parts is really unrealistic. And I think because of social media and the ability to put filters on all of our pictures, we've lost sight of what is natural and what we should be looking for when we're trying to define what beauty is. But when tear troughs have become to the point where it has made us look tired, and people are commenting to us, did you sleep well last night? You look really tired. It kind of has a negative impact on our psyche, whether we're tired or not. And I want to help improve that in everybody. So to answer both questions at the same time, part of my approach is to first address expressions that are negative on somebody's face as they're aging. People are getting the heavy glabella 11s that people are thinking, oh, are you upset with me? Are you mad? The down-to-earth mouth are making people look pissed off and sad. Same with a thin, stern lip. And the tear troughs that can become dark and hollow can make someone look quite tired and unrested. So those areas are definitely areas of negativity that, when improved, has massive impact on how people receive each other. There's a space and time when you are approaching someone new for the first time that you can have a trepidation, if you will, of approaching someone because of how your first impression of their look is. And when you talk to them for 10 minutes to an hour, you're like, oh, my first impression of what I thought was their personality is completely different. They're a happy, wonderful person when they start talking. So people who work with the public and are constantly around people and need to be connected, this is a great way to have barriers removed right off the top.
Yeah.
sensitive. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, it really does. And I really totally get what you mean about, I hear it all the time from patients feeling like unfortunately, we do judge each other based on facial expressions and appearance a little bit right in the beginning. Yeah. But so these are under eyes is a wonderful way to, to remove that negativity around looking tired when you're just not tired.
So, and absolutely. But also people need to understand that with the tear trough area, if you have one, it's not a bad thing. It's not something that we must address in the aging process. It's something to maybe watch. But oftentimes lasers and just taking care of your skin, sunscreen, staying out of the sun, sunglasses are going to have a much bigger overall impact than throwing filler under the eye. Fillers, like we were talking about before, draw in fluid. And the under eye area, especially as we age, becomes very sensitive to fluid retention. We know one glass of wine, some popcorn at night, we wake up in the morning with a little less sleep, and we wake up with these puffy under eye areas that if there was filler there could make it much worse. So we have to make sure that the patient is a good candidate for that their skin's not too thin, that they have a good thick skin under there, and that we're doing it for the right reason.
Right. So we're not just doing under eye fillers in everyone, because sometimes we do have to help patients make decisions that they don't understand the big picture. So sometimes we say no to somebody that's asking for under eye fillers because it may not actually create an improvement. So yeah, definitely. That was very interesting. Let's, we're going to go on to lips. It's 12:27 right now. So really quickly, I want to take we'll do a Q&A afterwards. Let's do lips real quick, Jen.
Awesome. There's a nice before and after photo up there of a woman that came in to the clinic, and she had fairly thin lips, and I mean, they're still beautiful. She has a great Cupid's bow and a great lower lip and a good proportion before she even had fillers. But she felt her lips were a little bit flat, and she wanted a little bit of an enhancement to make her lips a little bit more sexy. And the before and afters are amazing, and you can see that that definitely was something that was achieved for her, and she was quite happy with her results. And her lips are the same shape as they were before. Her anatomical genetics weren't changed. They just became a little bit more plump, and yeah, some of that fullness in that after picture is right away. So there's a little bit of swelling that will kind of diffuse, and the gloss enhance that a little bit, but in a few weeks, it will settle down and look very natural.
It looked amazing. And what's been so interesting to me is how Jen's approach for my lips has changed over the years. So when I was younger, having some volume put right into my lips did the trick. But then as I got older, because we have been working together for quite some time now, sometimes you need a little bit of volume in other places of the mouth or lips to create that natural result. So yeah, I mean, it's really like a relationship, and we kind of age together and change course and change strategy together.
Yeah, and also, Angie, sorry to interrupt you, but with the lips, when people have been getting lips for quite a long time, people have been now talking about filler migration. Yeah. And I don't think that filler, when people think of migration, they think of it actually moving, like from the lips to somewhere else in the face. That's not really what we see when people are talking about migration. But when you think of any liquid, the more liquid you pour onto the counter, the bigger the puddle is spreading. So when you first start getting filler in the lips, it's very easy to put filler directly into the lip. But as time, people are wanting more and more and more in their lips. And now the filler has really nowhere else to go, except it's starting to creep up into past the vermilion border into the white part, because it is no longer the case of filling up the tire with the proper PSI. Now we are augmenting and expanding it, just like someone would choose to have larger breasts and they were born with. And so that it needs to go somewhere. So if we're not addressing that space now between the nose and the lip, we can see a chunk of filler that sits there that you can see on mobility when you smile. So people have the choice to blend that filler up to their nose or dissolve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And dissolving is definitely an option and starting all over again. So
yeah. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of transformations by Jenn where we do dissolve and start fresh, and it's not as bad as it sounds. You know, you dissolve, it's not terrible at all. You give yourself a bit of time off and then kind of restart fresh, and it looks extremely natural. I'm going to give everybody, we're going to keep talking because this is so interesting. We're going to finish up on our facial parts and start doing some Q&A. I wanted to let people that do have to run, the link to claim your $50 gift card and apply for the $500 gift card are in the chat. And when you get there, the password is Broadway, like West Broadway, which is where our office is. So BROADWAY. So go ahead. If you have to take off, please go ahead. Why don't we do a couple quick questions here that people have. I'm going to go the patient people who asked first. Let's start there. Can you use fillers going down? There was a good question about skin. Can you use fillers for improving the look of your skin or the glow in your skin?
Yes. There are fillers now that we can put into the skin rather than into the dermis. Sometimes they're called skin boosters. Other companies call or market their products differently. But basically, we can use micro droplets of a less strength HA filler, hyaluronic acid, to be placed just under the skin to create this beautiful glow. And sometimes that has been lasting 9 months for some products, and some products are a little bit more regular maintenance. But definitely, we can use fillers to help make the skin look better.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and then another question here. Do you have any thoughts on the different brands of filler that are available?
No, I think all the FDA-approved brands in Canada are worth their weight. Different product lines have different strengths that we were talking about earlier. It's like Nike runners might have a runner brand that they're very famous for, a running shoe, but maybe less noted for a walking shoe. And then you would go to an Echo, you know? So each brand of filler has their gold product, and depending on what area you want filled or how long you want it to last, those types of things. If you have thin skin, if you're a very mature woman who's never had filler before, and you don't want to see every spot that the filler has been, we have to choose the product from a brand that is going to be best suited for you. And we're not brand focused here at 8 West. We're results driven. So that's how you would choose your product.
Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you, Jacqueline. And I think, yes, having an injector that will make really educated decisions about the type of product to use, how to layer it, different types of products maybe to get that right effect. And then also just knowing that you have a clinic that has very high standards in choosing the brands that they work with so that they're safe and FDA and Canada Health. Good for there. So let's do a couple other questions.
I saw a question, Angie.
Where is it?
Is it easy to identify old HA under the eyes from years ago to dissolve with hyaluronidase? I think that's a really good question, because I mean, even when I first started, we were taught to let our patients know that filler the first generation of fillers last maybe 6 to 9 months. And then fillers became a bit more durable, and now we're saying fillers can last 1 to 2 years. However, I have seen filler under the eyes that have been 5 to 7 years old, and they're still there, and they are not looking very well and do need to be resolved with dissolving. And yes, it is possible, and oftentimes it is easy to see if it is no longer effective under the eye. And I think with the eyes, because the eyes age so quickly, unfortunately, the skin gets very thin. So the product's still there and the product's fine, but now our skin has changed and the product is now visible. So it needs to be dissolved and redone. It's just like getting your brakes changed in your car. The brakes that were there first are fine, but with use and overuse, they've worn out and you need to replace it. So it's fine to get filler removed and put back in.
And on the topic of that, because Cheryl is asking, and Jenn, how is your time? When do you have to go? Because there are so many questions coming through. I don't want to end almost.
I have got 10 more minutes.
Okay, so we'll keep going for a few more.
No, I don't. I lied.
You got 5?
I have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll do less than 5 minutes. Usually we wrap up right at 12:30, but we're really getting so many questions. Can you talk about how you actually dissolve? What should somebody expect? Let's say it's me and the true me, which is I've had lip injections many times over the last 10 years. I'm starting to be able to see it up here a little bit. What would you do for me?
Well, people are often afraid because there's this notion that dissolving filler is way more painful than getting fillers. And I think it depends on how the product itself was manufactured. There's a buffering in a lot of the products, and the buffering means pH balanced. So at 8 West, at least, we use hyaluronidase, which is the enzyme that dissolves filler, with a buffered solution. So it doesn't sting when it's going to the skin because it's balanced with our own pH. And because it's not as specific as filler is placed, it basically goes across all barriers under the skin, blood vessels and everything, that we don't have to do as many pokes to dissolve as we do to put it in. So it's a very quick and simple process. Typically someone would be swollen for that day, and I mean, filler dissolving is almost instant. You can start to see results immediately. But I usually tell people to wait about 2 weeks total for everything to resolve before they get filler put back in.
Well, Jen, I think I might be your next patient for that. I just wanted to let everybody know, because I've been worried about doing it, to be honest. But I think it would be a good thing to try. I'm not so worried about it anymore. So let's just quickly wanted to let everybody know, because Jen has to run and there's some great questions that we're trying to get to. We will post answers on Instagram. Do we have time to take a look at one more quick before and after photo? Which one is the most, should we do the chin or the jaw, Mitch? I think we have a young, here we go. Jen, so this is a gorgeous example of a subtle chin augmentation.
Yes.
Tell us what you did here.
Well, as you can see, she has a very beautiful full lips and a good jawline from the ear. You can't see me pointing at the screen. I wish I had a pointer. I'll do it for myself. You can see from here to here, she's got a great jawline and her lips are full. So everything looks great. And I don't even believe that patient who came in was concerned about her chin, to be honest. But she wanted a stronger jawline. She thought we would have to enhance back here. But to project the chin forward, it forces the eye to look at a longer space. So it elongates the jawline. It hides submental fat quite nicely and really balances out the angle from the nose to the chin tip.
Yeah, that looks gorgeous. I love that. Let's do one more question, Jen, and then we'll let you go.
Okay.
Do you have time?
Hit me.
Hey, can you explain the process of doing filler on the back of the hands? And do you use a cannula when you do this?
Sure. We typically use a cannula now because we have that tool, thankfully. So it makes it a lot easier to spread filler under the hand. Sometimes we can pre-mix filler with a little bit of saline to make it a bit more liquid so it can spread, because we don't need the structure in the hand like you would want in the face. We just want a nice soft padding. And so we can just go in between the webs of the finger and we can slide the cannula around the tendons and the veins to soften the gnarly look that we can get as we get older, or people who are very fit can get that very muscled, stringy look in their hands that they want to feminize a little bit. So yes, it's very simple procedure. It's quite tolerable procedure. You don't need numbing or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's a great one too. And I know a lot of athletic women that just want their hands to match the rest of it better. It's a great way to do it. Jen, there's lots of more questions coming through here. I think that we will post them, the answers on Instagram, follow up with you for that. Just wanted to say thank you so much. It's always amazing to learn from you. And
Thank you.
And just a reminder,
for having me.
Thank you. And everybody, thanks for joining. And please visit the link. It's in the chat. Please go and claim your $50 gift card and apply for the $500 gift card that we're giving away. Thanks so much, everyone. And thanks for all your nice comments.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.